The hostess at La Corona glanced at my simple navy dress from Target with barely concealed disdain. I didn't blame her. In a sea of Gucci and Prada, I looked like I'd wandered in from a different tax bracket entirely. "I'm meeting someone," I said. Olivia Matthews, age 34, standing my ground despite the judgmental stares from the city's elite dining crowd. "Do you have a reservation?" the hostess asked, her perfectly penciled eyebrows arching. Before I could respond, a familiar, unwelcome voice cut through the ambient chatter of fine dining and expensive jewelry. "Oh my God, Olivia? Is that you?" Victoria Sterling, my former stepsister, sashayed across the marble floor, her Louboutins clicking like expensive exclamation points. Behind her trailed her usual entourage: Madeline, Sophia, and Diana, all daughters of various Fortune 500 executives. "What are you doing here?" Victoria's voice carried just loud enough to draw attention. "This isn't exactly your scene." I checked my watch, a simple Timex that hid the fact I owned 3 luxury watchmaking companies. "I have a business meeting." Victoria laughed, the sound crystal and cruel. "A business meeting. Here." She made a show of examining my outfit. "Maybe you should check the prices first. The wine list alone would max out your credit card." Her friends tittered on cue, their designer bags swaying as they shifted closer like well-dressed vultures. "The cheapest appetizer cost more than your entire outfit," Madeline added, adjusting her Cartier bracelet. I remained silent, watching Victoria's perfect features twist into a familiar smirk. We'd grown up together after her father married my mother when I was 12. She spent the next 6 years making sure I never forgot I was the poor relation, the charity case, the girl who didn't belong. "Let me help you out," Victoria said, fake concern dripping from every syllable. "There's a lovely little diner around the corner, much more appropriate for your budget." Ms. Matthews. Antonio Romano, owner of La Corona and its entire international chain, came hurrying through the restaurant. His Italian accent was thick with excitement. "Your quarterly profits report is ready. All 85 locations have exceeded projections." The board is absolutely thrilled. The silence that followed was exquisite. Victoria's perfectly glossed mouth fell open. "What?" Antonio turned to her, his warm demeanor cooling noticeably. "Ah, Miss Sterling. Your father's corporate account has been suspended, yes." "Something about unauthorized personal charges?" Victoria's face flushed. "There's been a mistake. I'm having dinner with—" "No, you're not," I said quietly. "Your reservation has been canceled." "You can't." "Actually, I can. La Corona International is owned by Matthews Holdings." I smiled. "My company." Madeline's phone clattered to the marble floor. Sophia choked on her champagne. Diana's expertly contoured face went pale. "That's impossible," Victoria sputtered. "You work in—" She trailed off, realizing she had no idea what I actually did. For the past decade, she assumed I was struggling in some entry-level job, barely making ends meet while she lived lavishly off her father's money. "Ms. Matthews is one of the most successful restaurateurs in the world," Antonio said proudly, "though she prefers to remain discreto, private." Victoria's hands were shaking. But Dad said you were working as a waitress somewhere." "I did, in college. It's called learning the business from the ground up." I turned to Antonio. "Please escort these ladies out. And cancel all Sterling family reservations at every location." "With pleasure, Signora." Antonio was already signaling security. "Shall I have someone bring up the Dubai expansion contracts?" "The private dining room, please. And the 82 Bordeaux." Victoria found her voice. "You can't throw me out, my father." "Your father's company is being acquired next week," I interrupted, "by my holding company. Consider this a preview of the changes to come." As security approached, Victoria grabbed my arm. "Why are you doing this? We're family." "No, Victoria, we were never family. You made that very clear every day for 6 years. I was a teenager. And now you're an adult who's about to learn some very expensive lessons about karma." Antonio gestured toward the private elevator. "This way, Signora Matthews. The board is waiting." As I walked away, I heard Madeline whisper, "Victoria, did you know your stepsister was worth—" "Shut up," Victoria's voice cracked. "Just shut up." The private dining room offered a spectacular view of the city skyline. I sat at the head of the table, surrounded by board members who'd once dismissed me as a naive girl with impossible dreams. Now they stood respectfully as I opened my portfolio. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Victoria just called her father in tears. What's happening? I replied, just a long overdue lesson in humility. Another buzz. Victoria had posted on Instagram. Some people use money as a weapon, but real class comes from breeding, not bank accounts. #goldmoney, #trueclass. I smiled and opened my investment app. By morning, I'd controlling interest in every luxury brand she tagged in her posts. Her old money lifestyle was about to get significantly less luxurious. Antonio returned with the board members and the contracts for 3 new restaurant acquisitions. While Victoria had been spending her trust fund, I'd been building an empire. While she'd been posting about luxury, I'd been quietly buying it. The Dubai contracts are ready, Antonio said, and the Sterling family has tried to make reservations at 6 other locations under different names. Block them all, I said, and start renovation plans for their favorite menus. I'm thinking something more, casual dining. The meeting lasted 4 hours. By the end, I owned 3 more restaurant chains, 2 luxury hotels, and the building where Victoria's penthouse apartment was located. I made a mental note to have the doorman's uniform changed to something that would horrify her social media followers. My phone buzzed again, a news alert. Mystery restaurant mogul acquires major luxury dining empire. I turned off my phone, let them speculate. I had an empire to run. As I left La Corona, the valet brought around my car, a modest Toyota Camry. Antonio looked pained. Signora, please, we have a fleet of luxury vehicles at your disposal. This is perfect, I assured him. Success doesn't need to show off, Antonio. That's what Victoria never understood. He nodded thoughtfully. Your stepsister has attempted to make reservations at 12 other premium restaurants in the city. All owned by Matthews Holdings subsidiaries, I confirmed. Declined them all. And her father's company acquisition? Proceeding as planned. By next week, she'll be living on a rather reduced budget. I drove home to my deliberately average condo in my deliberately average car, thinking about Victoria's post on Real Class. She never understood that true power doesn't need validation from social media. My phone buzzed one final time. Victoria was live on Instagram, ranting about new money and social climbing, while her follower count dropped precipitously. I laughed and turned onto the highway. Tomorrow, I had a meeting with the board of her favorite designer boutique. They didn't know it yet, but their exclusive clientele was about to become significantly less exclusive. Sometimes, revenge isn't about making a scene. Sometimes, it's about quietly buying everything your enemy thinks makes them special. And sometimes, the best revenge is served with a side of corporate takeover. The morning after the La Corona incident, I sat in my home office watching Victoria's social media spiral unfold in real time. Her latest Instagram story was a masterpiece of privileged panic. Some people think owning restaurants makes them elite. But my followers know true luxury is about heritage, not hostile takeovers. #goldmoney, #blueblood, #born with class. I smiled, reviewing the latest acquisition reports. The heritage brands she loved to tag. I had acquired controlling interest in all of them overnight. Their social media teams were currently drafting polite messages informing Victoria that her ambassador status had been revoked. My assistant, Kate, entered with my morning coffee served in a simple mug, not the designer cups Victoria collected and photographed. Your stepsister has attempted to book tables at 15 different high-end restaurants since last night, Kate reported. All owned by us, I finished. Status. Mysteriously fully booked whenever she calls. For the next decade. I nodded, scanning through emails. The boutique situation. Maison Elite is prepared for acquisition. The board meets at 2 p.m. Kate's lips twitched. Isn't that where Victoria does her weekly fashion haul videos? The very same. Make sure the paperwork is ready. My phone buzzed, a text from her father, my former stepfather. Olivia, this vendetta needs to stop. Victoria's upset. Your mother's worried. Let's discuss this like adults. Richard Sterling hadn't spoken to me in 8 years, not since he laughed at my business plan and told me I should marry well instead of trying to compete in a man's world. I texted back. La Corona, 7 p.m. Your corporate card still works. For the moment. The morning passed in a blur of video conferences with my various boards of directors. None of them knew about each other. I had carefully kept my empire fragmented and private. While Victoria posted about old money legacy, I built a web of holding companies that controlled everything from luxury restaurants to high-end fashion houses. At 1:55, I joined the Maison Elite board meeting virtually, using only audio. By 2:30, I owned the entire chain. By 2:35, Victoria's VIP membership was regrettably terminated due to system updates. I arrived at La Corona 5 minutes before 7, wearing another simple outfit that probably cost less than Victoria's daily beauty routine. Richard was already there, radiating expensive cologne and disapproval. "Olivia," he said, straightening his Savile Row suit. "You look economical." "Hello, Richard." Antonio appeared instantly. "Signora Matthews, your private room is ready. Mr. Sterling, please follow me." Richard's stride faltered. "Signora." In the private dining room, I took the head of the table while my former stepfather tried to process the spectacular city view. "I don't understand," he said finally. "Last I heard, you were working as some kind of consultant." "I buy things, Richard. Specifically, I buy companies, like this restaurant chain, and the building where your office is located, and the private bank that handles your old money accounts." He paled. "What? Remember when you told me to marry well instead of trying to build something? That women should focus on social connections instead of business plans." He shifted uncomfortably. "I took my business degree and my savings and I started buying distressed companies, small ones at first, then bigger ones. Always quietly, always under the radar. While Victoria was posting about private jets, I was buying the companies that manufacture them. But your car, your condo, are chosen specifically to avoid attention. Real power doesn't need to advertise, Richard. That was always Victoria's weakness, and yours." Antonio arrived with dinner, simple pasta I'd chosen to make a point. "My daughter's fashion show charity event next week," Richard began. "Cancelled," I confirmed. "Along with her store accounts, her spa memberships, and her access to basically every luxury venue in the city." "Be reasonable, Olivia. She's your sister." "Stepsister," I corrected. "The one you taught to look down on me. How's that working out?" As if on cue, my phone buzzed with Victoria's latest post. "When jealous people try to tear you down, but you stay winning. Just booked the ultra-exclusive platinum spa for my wellness retreat. Hashtag unbothered Harris, hashtag old money vibes." I smiled. "Platinum spa. Interesting." I turned to Antonio. "Please inform accounting that we'll be acquiring Platinum Spa Group tomorrow morning." Richard put down his fork. "You can't just buy everything." "Actually, I can. And I will." I opened my portfolio app. "Would you like to see what else I own? Maybe the investment firm that manages your old money portfolio." He slumped in his chair. "What do you want?" "Nothing. That's the beauty of it. I don't want anything from you or Victoria. I just want you both to understand something. Status isn't inherited. It's earned. Victoria will be destroyed. She'll survive, with significantly fewer luxury shopping sprees and exclusive club memberships, but she'll survive." My phone buzzed again. The Platinum Spa acquisition was confirmed. Right on schedule, Victoria's retreat booking was being regrettably canceled due to ownership changes. "This is petty," Richard said. "No, this is karma. There's a difference." I stood up. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have several other acquisitions to manage." "Wait." He reached for my arm. "At least tell me, how much are you worth?" I stepped back. "Enough to buy and sell everything Victoria pretends to be, 1,000 times over. But unlike her, I don't need to post about it." As I left, I heard him ordering another drink. Antonio quietly informed him that his credit card had been declined. Back in my office, Kate updated me on my afternoon's developments. Victoria had tried to book 8 more exclusive venues, all mysteriously unavailable. Her attempts to maintain her social media presence were crumbling as brand after brand severed ties. Her favorite boutiques were suddenly repositioning their target demographic. "She's getting desperate," Kate noted. Her latest story claims she's being targeted by new money trying to infiltrate old money circles. "How many followers has she lost?" 20,000 since yesterday. Her fans are starting to question why an old money heiress suddenly can't access any luxury venues. I nodded, reviewing the next acquisition target, the exclusive country club where Victoria filmed her weekly society life content. Should I proceed with Operation Legacy? Kate asked, smirking. Schedule the board meeting. Let's see how blue her blood looks when she has to socialize with regular people. My phone buzzed one final time that day, a group text from Mom. Family dinner this Sunday. Non-negotiable. We need to resolve this situation. Victoria replied instantly. Only if it's somewhere suitable for our social position. I smiled and typed, don't worry about the venue. I'll handle it. Little did they know, Sunday's dinner would be at the most exclusive new restaurant in town. One where Victoria's multiple attempts to get a reservation had been denied for months. Sometimes the best lessons about real class are taught one acquisition at a time. The days leading up to Sunday's family dinner were a symphony of Victoria's social downfall. Her once polished social media presence, a curated gallery of old money lifestyle, had devolved into transparent attempts at damage control. True aristocracy means appreciating life's simple pleasures. #heritage life, #old money values, she posted, alongside a clearly reluctant photo of herself at a regular coffee shop after being turned away from her usual luxury breakfast club. Kate delivered my morning report with evident satisfaction. Your stepsister attempted to book the royal suite at the Wellington Hotel for an emergency social retreat after her digital cleanse. The Wellington? Perfect timing. I sipped my coffee, finalized the acquisition by noon. Already in motion. Also, she's been frantically calling every society event planner in the city. All of them work for your subsidiary companies, naturally. They're all mysteriously fully committed for the season. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Honey, about Sunday. Victoria's having a difficult time with her social commitments. Perhaps we could choose somewhere less controversial? I replied, already arranged, the Pinnacle. The Pinnacle was the city's most exclusive new restaurant, occupying the penthouse of a historic building I'd quietly acquired last year. Victoria had been desperately trying to secure a table since opening night, needing it for her social media image. Her repeated failures had become a running complaint at society events. What she didn't know was that I'd bought it specifically because she wanted it so badly. The responses were immediate. Victoria, the Pinnacle? That's impossible. Even Daddy's connections couldn't get in. Richard, Olivia, enough games. Mom, are you certain about this, dear? I sent a simple reply. 7 p.m. Dress appropriately. That afternoon, I reviewed security footage from various venues as Victoria attempted to maintain her socialite facade. She had been denied entry to 8 luxury boutiques, 4 elite restaurants, and her beloved members-only spa. Each rejection was followed by increasingly desperate social media posts about choosing to explore authentic old money activities. Her follower count had dropped by another 30,000. Kate entered with updates. The Wellington Hotel acquisition is complete. Your stepsister's suite reservation has been regrettably declined due to private events. Her response? A 15-minute Instagram live rant about new money conspiracies and attacks on heritage families. She's also losing her society columnist position. I nodded, reviewing the latest figures. Victoria's carefully constructed world of old money privilege was crumbling exactly as planned. Without access to exclusive venues and events, her image of inherited elegance was disintegrating. Sunday arrived with a barrage of increasingly frantic texts from Victoria. The Pinnacle says they've never heard of our reservation. This isn't funny, Olivia. My followers are expecting content from the Pinnacle. Answer me. At 6:55 p.m., I arrived at the Pinnacle in another deliberately modest outfit. The staff, who knew exactly who signed their paychecks, treated me with subtle deference. Victoria, Richard, and Mom were arguing with the maitre d' in the lobby. But my stepsister said, Victoria was insisting. Good evening, I interrupted. The maitre d' straightened immediately. Madam CEO, your private dining room awaits. Victoria's perfectly contoured face went slack. Richard's complexion matched his pale gray tie. Mom just looked bewildered. CEO, she asked. This way, I said simply. The private dining room offered unparalleled city views. As we sat, Victoria was already positioning her phone for photos. Finally secured a table at the Pinnacle. Your girl's true status cannot be denied. Hashtag old money, hashtag society life, hashtag heritage. No social media, I said quietly. You can't dictate. Actually, I can, because I own this restaurant and the building, and the company that handles your trust fund payments. Victoria's phone lowered slowly. What? I own quite a lot of things, dear stepsister, including most of the venues and brands you've been desperately trying to access lately. Richard shifted uncomfortably. Olivia, about what happened at La Corona. This isn't about that. I cut him off. This is about heritage, Victoria's favorite topic recently. What do you mean? Mom asked. I opened my laptop displaying Victoria's social media analytics. Her followers are leaving because they've realized something doesn't add up. The old money heiress suddenly can't access any elite venues. The society insider can't get into private clubs. The blue blood influencer is posting from regular cafes while claiming it's by choice. You're destroying my reputation, Victoria exploded. No, I'm exposing it. There's a difference. The first course arrived, simple but exquisitely prepared dishes that cost more than Victoria's monthly trust fund allowance. Why are you doing this? Mom asked. Because class isn't inherited. While Victoria was posting about old money, I was building new money. Real success doesn't need a family tree to validate it. Says the person who owns half the city but lives in a condo. Victoria snapped. Exactly. I don't need people to know I'm wealthy. I just am. Richard cleared his throat. Perhaps we could discuss some kind of arrangement. You mean like when you told me to marry well instead of trying to succeed on my own? He flinched. Victoria's phone buzzed, another society magazine dropping her column due to credibility concerns. Fine, she said, tears threatening her perfect makeup. You've made your point. You're rich. You win. Satisfied. This isn't about winning. It's about understanding the difference between inheriting status and earning it. I signaled the waiter. Bring the papers. He returned with a folder containing documents for a small but prestigious event planning company I'd recently acquired. What's this? Victoria asked. A real job. The company needs a social director, someone who understands both genuine society events and modern marketing. The salary is appropriate, the work is legitimate, and yes, I own it. You want me to work for you. I want you to work. Period. Build something real instead of just inheriting something hollow. Victoria stared at the papers for a long moment. Her phone buzzed again. Another society club canceling her membership. Finally, she looked up. The job, does it include Pinnacle membership? I almost smiled. We'll discuss privileges after you prove you understand what real class looks like. As dinner concluded, Victoria's phone remained untouched, a first in recent memory. Mom looked hopeful. Richard looked chastened. And I felt vindicated. Not because I'd won, but because sometimes the best way to teach someone about real class is to strip away their illusions of it. One condition, Victoria said suddenly. I get to post one photo from the Pinnacle. Just one, please. I considered it. Fine, but the caption has to be honest. She thought for a moment, then typed. Learning that real class isn't inherited, it's earned. Time to build something authentic. Hashtag new beginnings. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. 3 months after the Pinnacle dinner, I reviewed Victoria's progress reports from my office. Her transformation from society princess to actual professional had been enlightening. Her first day at work had been a reality check. No designer outfits. The company had a professional dress code. No extended champagne lunches. There were actual meetings to attend. And most shockingly, real deadlines. Her final Instagram post as a society influencer had been surprisingly authentic. Starting a new chapter, trading inherited privilege for earned respect. Thanks, sis, for the wake-up call. Hashtag actual heritage. Kate entered with the quarterly reports, her satisfaction evident. Your stepsister's department has increased event bookings by 45%. Apparently, she actually understands society functions when she has to organize them properly. I nodded, reviewing the numbers. Victoria had thrown herself into learning real event planning, not just attending parties and posting about them. Her team was delivering genuine results for actual clients. My phone buzzed. A text from Richard. Can we discuss the family trust? And Victoria's future? Ah yes, the trust. After seeing my success, He'd been trying to renegotiate the family's financial arrangements. Too late, he'd realized that banking everything on Victoria's society connections hadn't been his wisest move. The Pinnacle, 3 p.m., I replied. My next meeting was with the board of a luxury hotel chain, one where Victoria had frequently pretended to vacation, taking lobby photos while actually staying in her father's city apartment. Now that I owned it, I had plans for genuine innovation. Your stepsister's application for the corporate development program arrived, Kate mentioned. She completed it properly, followed all protocols. No mention of family connections. Approve it, I said. But assign her to regular projects, not the elite client list she requested. Victoria was learning, but old habits died hard. At the Pinnacle, Richard looked diminished. Success, I'd learned, could shrink people in two ways: the weight of losing it or the regret of wasting it. The trust fund, he began without preamble. I'd like to restructure it. You mean now that Victoria's society connections have evaporated? He flinched. I made mistakes. I see that now. Several mistakes I corrected, starting with dismissing my potential. Olivia, please, I'm trying to make amends. I opened my laptop, showing him the trust's current value, less than my smallest subsidiary's monthly revenue. The money doesn't matter anymore, Richard. What matters is the lesson. Victoria's learning it. Are you? He stared at the numbers. How much have you really built? Enough to buy your entire old money world without blinking. But that's not the point. Then what is? Understanding that real class isn't inherited or posted on social media. It's built day by day, deal by deal. My phone buzzed. An update from Victoria's supervisor. She's actually excelling. Requested to start with smaller events to understand the fundamentals properly. I smiled. Progress. Here's what's happening, I told Richard. The trust stays minimal. Victoria keeps her job, earning her position for once. And you? Yes. You start attending real business meetings, not to participate, to learn, to see what actual success looks like. He nodded slowly. And your mother? She misses you. Mom gets what she always wanted, regular family dinners. At normal restaurants where we discuss real achievements instead of pretending to be born superior. Later that evening, I received an email from Victoria. Sis, I understand now. Actually understand. Today a client thanked me for making their event truly special, and it felt better than any society column mention. Also, can we discuss my long-term career path? No shortcuts this time, I promise. I forwarded it to Kate with a note. Schedule her for breakfast. The office cafe, not the Pinnacle. My empire had grown even larger, but that wasn't the victory. The real win was watching Victoria's latest social media post. A simple photo of her team celebrating a successful charity gala with a caption. Building real heritage. No family connections needed. #earned success. Mom texted. Family dinner this weekend. Victoria suggested that charming bistro near her office. I replied. Perfect. The restaurant wasn't exclusive. The food wouldn't impress society photographers. But for the first time in years, none of that mattered. Because sometimes class isn't about which family you're born into. Sometimes it's about what you build for yourself. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's watching someone finally understand the difference between inherited privilege and earned respect. Kate, I called out before leaving the office. How many properties do we own now? She smiled. Enough to impress any social circle, but you still want to drive the Toyota home, don't you? Of course. Real power whispers, Kate, it doesn't need to name drop. And somewhere in the city, Victoria was learning that lesson, one authentic achievement at a time.